This is the Oku event, the one where you dive deeper and deeper into a labyrinth, and you decide the path you take. If you're lucky, you can even move forward without fighting at all. On the surface, it looks simple. Explore the maze, beat enemies, and reach the final floor. And yeah, the gameplay is fun and kind of addictive if you've played it before. But that's not why we're here. The event starts with something way darker. Everyone in Chaldea suddenly disappears. All of them. Every servant, every staff member, every technician. Gone without a trace. The only people left are you, Mash, Sion, and Kiara. Aside from them, silence, emptiness. Something terrifying clearly happened. Sion pinpoints the source and sends you and Kiara to the Oku. And when you arrive, it gets even worse. People there have vanished too, completely. You eventually reach a giant castle that has twisted into a massive labyrinth stretching downward, layer after layer, all the way into the Earth's depths. As you explore, fighting a few enemies here and there, you finally clear the first floor and uncover the truth. A truth so disturbing it lingers and makes your skin crawl. All those missing people, every Chaldea staff member, every servant, they are the labyrinth. The walls, the floors, the pillars, they're literally made from living humans, fused together into the structure itself. Your friends are the labyrinth's foundation. It's horrifying. And you know what really makes this hit harder. It messes with your head. Because honestly, admit it, the design is interesting. You like how the place looks. The Oku's interior is filled with pinks, blacks, reds, and browns, and at first it just feels stylish, creepy in a cool, aesthetic way. Before the game tells you anything, it lets you admire that uniqueness. They even explain that the Oku is a fusion of Japanese and Indian aesthetics, so you can tell the designers were probably proud of how it turned out. Then the reveal hits. Those colors suddenly make sense. They're not just artistic choices, they're the colors of human flesh and internal organs. And that's when it sinks in. Without realizing it, the game forces you to admire the beauty of the interior design, while constantly reminding you that this beautiful design is actually a living wall of flesh made from your friends. This reminds me a lot of body horror, the kind with walls of meat made of living flesh like those game levels, and I flippin' hate that kind of thing. Except this time, it's your friends. And no matter how casual you try to be about it, that thought sticks with you the entire way down. Once it clicks, it never really leaves your head. And that's exactly the kind of thing we're talking about today. The Oku Labyrinth isn't scary by any means. I even said it's kinda cool. But it's the subtle concept behind the labyrinth that makes it truly disturbing. You can finish the event, grab some coffee, and go on with your day. But sooner or later, if you really understand what the labyrinth represents, you'll find yourself thinking back to it. And that's when the horror hits. And honestly, there are a lot of disturbing things in this series that we just gloss over. Sometimes it's because something else feels more impactful. Sometimes we just skip the story. And that's okay. I do that too sometimes. But that's why I made this video. I want to show how these unsettling details can pass right by us without us even realizing it, and that's a shame. Because most of the time, these darker aspects are deeply personal to the characters themselves. Whether it's their nightmare-like living conditions, their internal hell, or something even deeper, it's subtle. But once it clicks, it sticks with you. Obviously, I'm not talking about disturbing things that most people already know, like Bryn's tendency to hurt Sigurd or the dark side of command spells. Those are things you can figure out on your own without digging too deep. What I want to focus on instead are the ones people rarely notice, or the ones you actually have to dig into a bit to really see. Okay, so that was the first one. But I'm pretty sure you guys aren't fully immersed in the horror yet, since I kinda just threw it at you right away. So now, let's take a look at a character we usually treat as a joke, barely use in battle, and almost never take seriously. We need to talk about this one maniac, Nobukatsu Oda. On the surface, everyone knows him as the joke character of the Oda family. Goofy, harmless, a little too intense about his sister, but still kinda funny. But there's one thing about him that honestly gives me chills. His noble phantasm. Some of you probably never used him because, yeah, he's a bronze servant. But if you didn't know, his NP is actually a support skill that pairs insanely well with Nobunaga. Now, the synergy itself is cool, sure, but what I really want to highlight here is the visual. The way the whole NP sequence plays out is straight up nightmare fuel. He just calmly raises his arms, and depending on how the battle's going, he'll either command everyone to die, scream about his sister, or start laughing like he's completely snapped. Then he disintegrates, like actually tears himself apart, with this deep red background that feels way too dark for a character who's supposed to be comedic. And that's where the horror hits. Suddenly, you realize his obsession with Nobunaga was never just a joke. The game usually plays it for laughs, but his NP strips all that away. It shows how messed up his devotion really is. Like, if you ever witness it for the first time, I'm pretty sure this sequence completely changes your impression of him. It stops being a funny sibling gag and immediately turns into, oh, he's actually broken. What should feel like a noble sacrifice turns into something unsettling, like you're watching someone willingly throw their life away, not out of loyalty or honor, but because their obsession has completely consumed them. It's creepy, because for the first time, you're not laughing with him. You're staring at a guy who's smiling as he crumbles to pieces, and he thinks that's perfectly okay. Another character with a light, playful personality but completely wrapped in darkness is BB. And honestly, with her, we're not even going to pretend to be surprised. Acting evil and cheeky is literally her default setting. That's just BB being BB. So then, what's actually disturbing about her? Well, everything about her, I guess. You see, BB's existence is complicated. We don't really know the true limits of what she's capable of. All we know is that whatever she does, she always has some motive behind it. And somehow, by the end, she makes us forgive her for it. But I do want to highlight one of her most disturbing traits, and honestly, her best design so far. So let's rewind to summer 2018. It's one of those FGO events people never really forget. Summer servants always get top-tier designs, and BB was no exception. On the surface, the event was pretty lighthearted and goofy. The interesting twist, though, was the time loop. Everything feels like a fun trip. I mean, it's summer after all. But then, just when the party is about to break free from the loop, BB suddenly changes. Completely. She drops the playful act and turns deadly serious. She straight up declares that she's not letting Fuji leave. What follows is this unhinged rant about how much effort she put into Luluhawa, how it was all meant to protect Fuji from a painful fate, and if Fuji refuses her help, then fine, she'll just force them to stay. And then we find out the truth. Turns out this woman actually has multiple contracts with divine beings, and one of them is Nyarlathotep. For those who don't know, Nyarlathotep is an outer god from H.P. Lovecraft's works. Unlike most cosmic horrors, he understands humans and enjoys interacting with them. Okay, I'll stop there for a second, because from that alone, you're probably already raising your eyebrow, maybe multiple times, and asking how, what, or why. See, in this event, BB was actually able to communicate with a being outside her universe, not outer space, not another timeline, something that exists beyond boundaries altogether. And this cheeky woman didn't just talk to it, she straight up formed a contract with it. Now, okay, sure, that might sound normal at first. I mean, this is fate after all. Impossible things happen all the time. I mentioned earlier that Nyarlathotep likes interacting with humans, and in some stories, it even takes a human form. But it's not just talking. This thing has fun ruining people, manipulating them, playing with them. One of the simplest ways I've seen Nyarlathotep described is this: a smiling manipulator who knows you exist and takes pleasure in breaking you, and that same being, bonded with BB. That's where the connection starts to make sense. BB also loves doing whatever she wants to us, manipulating, pranking, pushing buttons just to see our reactions. So in a way, Nyarlathotep probably saw BB as someone on the same level of nastiness. someone it could actually vibe with. So, let me get this straight. BB met an eldritch god, casually befriended it, and Nyarlathotep decided to grant her the authority of an outer god, just because they matched each other's freak. What makes it truly scary is that nothing was done to her. She chose it all. Every sadistic thing she does with that power, that's just BB being BB. And honestly, if you ask me who scares me more, eldritch gods or BB, I'd answer BB without even thinking. Now that I'm talking about her like this, I honestly think I could make a whole new video just about her scary side. But that's for another time. What I've mentioned so far is really just a tiny splash of what makes her so disturbing, and I already feel like I need to add one more thing. It's about BB's motive. For someone who acts insanely overconfident all the time, she actually seemed genuinely scared. Or at least, worried for us. I say that because I remember her motivation in this event. She reshaped landmasses, manipulated space and time, and even said herself that she was constantly busy just preparing everything. And when she was asked why she was acting like this, her answer was simple. There's no future for us, and humanity's future sucks. To me, that line is a massive red flag. Even now, I still wonder what she really meant by that, and what kind of future she saw that scared her so badly, she decided the best solution was to trap us in her version of eternal happiness. Now for me, this means I've got to think through at least a few possibilities. Let me lay out a few points. First, this event happened before the Lostbelt arc. Da Vinci is still around and still smoking hot, so timeline-wise it's clearly earlier. Because of that, it's possible the Lostbelt arc itself is what she was reacting to. From a developer perspective, that would make perfect sense. I mean, it's a great way to subtly hype players up. So I guess that's my first theory on what BB was referring to. But here's the thing. After actually playing through the Lostbelts, they don't feel that terrifying. Don't get me wrong, they're scary. Running from a dimensional wipeout caused by a former hero turned god, facing literal machine Greek gods, watching chocolate morph into something alive, and fighting a gigantic, planet-eating spider are all absolute nightmare fuel. But is it really bad enough to justify trapping us in eternal happiness forever? Honestly, most of what we deal with in the Lostbelts feels like the usual Fuji against impossible odds kind of challenge. Maybe I'm biased, or maybe the real answer is still ahead of us. And this is my second theory of what BB was referring to. The final chapter of this arc is coming up. By the time this video goes up, it'll probably already be out, and a lot of people will know how it ends. But for NA players, or anyone who hasn't reached that point yet, we're still in the dark. Who knows, really? All I know is that when I watched the trailer and saw Mash crying like that, it hit me hard. And for Mash to break down like that, it probably means whatever's coming has something to do with Fuji. And if that's the case, yeah, I get why she did all that. Still talking about that summer event, this is also the one where I remember grinding my soul out just to get NP5 Summer John Alter. I remember it clearly because the grind was painful. And when you finally see John in a swimsuit, it really hits you how different she feels. She's way more relaxed, more playful, almost normal, compared to her usual Avenger self. The game straight up tells us it's because she's no longer an Avenger, and that honestly got me thinking. What if John Alter isn't just an extreme tsundere like we always assumed? What if the Avenger class itself is the reason she's so angry and distant? Maybe that bitterness isn't her real personality at all. Maybe it's the class forcing her into that mindset, warping her emotions, locking her into constant resentment. Think about how horrifying that is. Imagine being summoned into a role that twists who you truly are, forcing you to feel rage you don't want, to hate even when you're tired of hating. It's like being trapped in a curse where you're made to play the villain non-stop with no way out. John Alter might not even want to be angry all the time, but as an Avenger, she doesn't get a choice. That realization adds a whole new layer of tragedy to her character. She's not edgy just for style points. She's literally being mentally altered by her class. And yeah, all Avengers suffer from this to some degree, which is already messed up on its own. But it feels even crueler with John, because she can actually see another version of herself. The properly summoned Ruler John. A version that isn't drowning in hatred. Knowing that, it suddenly makes a lot of sense why she despises her original self so much. Now then, how about Berserkers? Some of you are probably wondering if Berserkers suffer from something similar too. And well, yeah, to a degree I guess. But it feels different. Mad enhancement isn't quite the same as having your entire existence defined by rage and hatred. I don't know how to put it perfectly, but it just feels cruel in a different way. I think the best way to explain it is this. With Berserkers, mental coherence is sacrificed for strength. They may be unable to think rationally, become aggressive, and slowly lose themselves, at least to a certain extent. Avengers, on the other hand, remain mentally aware. Their pain and resentment stay intact, forever present. They remember everything that hurt them. And in a way, that feels even crueler, because Avengers don't lose themselves. Their suffering is conscious, constant, and unending, while Berserkers lose rational thought in exchange for power. That's why their situation feels way more cruel to me. Lev Laner Flauros is a key figure in our FGO journey. On the surface, he was this humble, chill guy, and somehow he managed to trick all of us. He's the one responsible for putting 47 master candidates into a coma, the one who killed the director, the one who planted a bomb under our own command center. And yeah, he's basically the reason 2015 straight up collapsed. Most people thought he was a good guy. Well, not me. And honestly, I'm pretty sure not you guys either. I mean, let's be real. With a design like that, a lot of players already knew he was pretending. But there was always something off about his presence. Something unsettling. Now here's the truly disturbing part. According to Clock Tower 2015, Lev Laner actually saved humanity in another timeline by taking his own life. He did it because he didn't want the demon god pillar to erase his personality and hijack his body. That was Lev, making the final choice to stay human. But in the FGO timeline, he failed. And what we're dealing with now is a maniac demon god pillar whose favorite hobby is loudly monologuing about his own evil actions. Which means the real Lev is already gone without us even knowing. What's standing in front of us isn't Lev at all. It's Flauros, using his body like a meat puppet. And that's honestly disturbing as hell. Because here's the worst part. No one in Chaldea ever knew the truth. They never knew that Lev was actually a good guy who met a brutally dark fate. All they know is that a man named Lev Laner betrayed them at the absolute worst moment possible. And that misunderstanding dies with him. That was genuinely disturbing. I really can't stand horror where something gets taken over from the inside. It's one of the few tropes that really messes with me. So this was already high on my nightmare list. And then there's the next one, which might be even worse. Super Bunyan. On the surface, she looks adorable. Rio's art style pushes the chibi aesthetic hard, and honestly, she looks way cuter and more stylish than normal Bunyan. Everything about her design feels harmless. But what's actually happening to her is horrifying. You see, Bunyan is a composite character, meaning she's made by fusing multiple beings into one. Now that's not new. We've seen it with Sitanai, the alter egos, Hessian Lobo, and others. Normally, those fusions involve some kind of balance or coexistence. But Bunyan didn't get that luxury. According to extra materials from Rio, Super Bunyan isn't really Bunyan at all. From the outside, she seems normal, but inside, one spirit has another completely restrained. The truth is that a Native American trickster spirit didn't just resist being absorbed, it fully took over. Instead of sharing the body, it drowned Bunyan out and replaced her with a personality that only pretends to be her. That alone is terrifying. Bunyan willingly fused with this spirit to become stronger, and from the outside, everything looked fine. But internally, she was being copied, tricked, and slowly erased. And it needs to be noted that the trickster can mimic her personality so perfectly that no one can tell the difference. That's crazy. This is why the event story never even addresses it, and why we never question it. And the one using that personality doesn't even understand that either. So why is this thing still Bunyan? Simple. Her will is strong enough to trap the trickster inside her own mind. That's why she still looks like herself, and because of that, the trickster doesn't even realize he's the one wearing Bunyan's personality. Her real self is still there, just distorted and buried. And this situation only lasts as long as Bunyan keeps chasing her goal. The moment she finds peace or lets go, the fake persona disappears, the trickster fully takes over, and Super Bunyan is gone forever. So yeah, this is basically a guaranteed bad ending. If she completes her journey, she loses herself completely. What makes this truly unsettling is what it implies. A phantom can hijack a body, rewrite a personality, and even reverse the rules of fusion entirely. We've seen characters resist merging before, but this is the first time the weaker spirit wins outright. And if it can happen once, it could happen again, without anyone ever noticing. That's what makes the whole soul fusion concept feel less like a power-up and more like a ticking time bomb. Good lord, it's already 20 minutes. Well, that's it for today. Click subscribe, share this video somewhere, and I'll see you guys next time.